On December 25th, 1997, Toyota announced its new car-based sport utility vehicle, the Harrier, and within 30 days, 2 variations of it were shown. For North America, it debuted as the Lexus RX 300, which went on to become possibly the most influential car of the last 25 years. And for Japan, there was this, the Toyota Harrier Zagato. Just 250 were produced, and from what I can tell, Zagato doesn't like to admit it designed it. I traveled to Ohio to drive the only one in the United States and to uncover some of the hidden history behind this car. The 1998 Harrier Zagato is based on the Japanese Toyota Harrier and was only sold in Japan. This one was imported to the US this year and is in highly original condition. The first thing you notice is the wide-body aero kit. It's got chunky fender flares and aggressive valence, these pill-shaped vents on the lower side skirts, and a spoiler that wraps around nearly the entire rear glass. It sits 25mm lower and is 85mm wider than the standard Toyota and has these special gold Zagato wheels. It was available in black, white, and this stunning color called Super Chroma Red Pearl. Is it beautiful? I'm not sure that's even relevant. It's a shocking looking version of a very ordinary car you're used to seeing.
It's Pomo! Postmodern! Yeah, alright, weird for the sake of weird. Oh!
The 3-liter V6 is the same, and the interior is unchanged, except for a lot of stickers warning you that if you aren't careful, you might damage the Zagato aero parts. And it drives a lot like a Lexus RX 300, which itself is similar to a Lexus ES 300. It is a pleasant place to be, and every time you catch a glimpse of the bright red mirrors out of the side window, you're reminded that you're driving the most special crossover that Toyota has ever produced. I'm excited about the Harrier Zagato because it's so outrageous and bizarre, and it's the ultimate obscure car weird special edition. All 250 were produced in 1998, so it came and went in a time before the internet as we know it, and as a result, information about its development is really hard to find. The Harrier Zagato resulted from a collaboration between 2 auto styling houses, Zagato and Modellista. One company had been around for 80 years and the other was brand new, just getting on its feet. Zagato is a coach builder and styling house founded in Milan in 1919, and throughout the past 100 years, it's been known for dreaming up even more special versions of special cars. Zagato's history is intertwined with storied brands like Lamborghini, Maserati, Aston Martin, Lancia, and Alfa Romeo. The early 1990s saw Zagato wind down its low-volume car production because it was adapting to a changing automotive industry. Andrej Zagato, the grandson of founder Ugo Zagato, set up a separate arm of the business called SZ Design, which provided CAD/CAM solutions to major manufacturers, enabling Zagato to provide not just coach building, but pre-production ready prototypes with shorter lead times than using traditional methods. So in the 1990s, Zagato had again become an industry pioneer, and its services became more appealing to more brands throughout the world. Modellista was launched in 1997 as a Toyota subsidiary that sold customized versions of its products inspired by the European style of car customization, which it aimed to popularize in Japan. Its website says the mission was to provide design and speed that cannot be realized by the manufacturer itself. Modellista customized the entire vehicle and sold complete cars before eventually offering aero kits and individual parts beginning in 2000. I found some scans of the original marketing brochure for the 1998 Harrier Zagato, and this page in particular gives some background to the development, and I think I have a basic timeline for the sequence of events. Fall 1996, Modellista's design director, Yoichi Kitada, receives a visit from an Italian man. Doesn't specify. They discussed the shining tradition of Zagato, which was now being led by the young and passionate Andrej Zagato. Spring 1997. Kitada visited Milan and met with Andrej Zagato, and a plan was made to create a factory-made, customized model for the upcoming Harrier, which was scheduled to be unveiled at the end of 1997. The design theme for the project was Italian Rocket. Summer 1997. Sketches were drawn, and the brochure reads, "This is where the true value of Modellista comes into play. From the designer's sketches, skilled craftsmen create prototypes under Kitada's direction." Just a side note, it's really interesting that in the sketches it has a Lexus badge. January 1998, the Harrier Zagato debuts at the Tokyo Auto Salon, bearing the name Zagato Design. Then it talks a bit about the engineering challenge of designing a low-volume, customized car concurrently with the base Harrier, which is being changed and tweaked right up until entering mass production. And in May 1998, the Harrier Zagato was born, which I assume means went into production, not even a full year after the start of the project. So what I can't figure out is why have both companies erased the Harrier Zagato from their past? Neither Modellista nor Zagato acknowledge the Harrier in their online histories. Zagato maintains an extensive archive of every project, special model, or concept car that it has penned. Modellista has a less detailed history page, but the Harrier Zagato is skipped over, and it's never been mentioned on the Modellista Instagram, which frequently posts about historic models in past. I tried to reach out to both companies with no luck. Modellista doesn't have much public contact info, and Zagato doesn't appear to have a working email server. I'll be the first to admit I didn't exhaust every avenue of investigation, but it is weird that both companies overlook the Harrier Zagato. My best guess is that Zagato omits this one because it is a crossover rather than a sexy sports coupe that the company is famous for. Zagato built its reputation on lightweight and aerodynamic, and the Harrier is, well, neither. Or maybe Zagato didn't like how it turned out, or maybe Zagato was just taking a paycheck on this one. For Modellista, you could also see why it might want to bury it. Partnership with Zagato offered it legitimacy when it was starting out, but as of now, Modellista has 20 years of successes, and it doesn't want this famous coach builder overshadowing its own achievements. The Harrier Zagato paved the way for the next collaboration with Modellista, the more ambitious VM180 Zagato, based on the Toyota MR Spider. Both companies celebrate the VM180 in their history, so it's possible that they each see that car as the true culmination of their partnership, and the rest is best left forgotten. But none of that explains what happened next. In 2006, Toyota and Zagato built another one. A second-generation Harrier Zagato. This time it was based on the second-generation Harrier, and like before, 250 were produced in black, white, and red with the gold wheels. I have the brochure for this one, and I've translated a few of these pages. Dignified. In order to wrap the tires, the wide and voluminous bulge shows the will to drive. Our stylistic elaboration emphasizes the areas of the car most associated with movement. Wheels, wheel arches, and bumpers, thus making an already undisputedly successful model more dynamic. That's President Dr. Andrej Zagato, using my favorite word. I'm fascinated by the Harrier Zagato, particularly the original, because it's such a wild, outlandish design built off of not just a normal car. It's built off of the car that came to define what we now consider the normal car. I wasn't kidding earlier when I said the RX 300 was the most influential car of the last 25 years. In the 1990s, we saw the rise of premium mid-sized crossovers from luxury car makers, and this basically set the tone for what nearly every new car on the road looks like today. SUVs had been around, but the idea of bringing prestige and car-like comfort in a package for the masses was new for the segment. In 1997, Mercedes-Benz introduced the ML series. It said, we're not going to compromise our ideals. When we do an SUV, it's going to have real off-road chops, and so the ML was a true off-road capable vehicle. Meanwhile, BMW saw the opportunity in SUVs, but it said, we're not going to compromise our ideals. When we do an SUV, it's going to perform as well as a sports sedan on the road. So it introduced the X5, which was designed to have unparalleled handling and performance for an SUV. And in 1998, the year between those two, Toyota and Lexus said, we're just making a tall luxury car. It's quiet and comfortable, but you probably don't want to push the limits on-road or off-road. And in the 25 years since, that's the template that has pretty much won out. The RX 300 defined the predominant car form factor for the next quarter century. Toyota made a bet that most SUV buyers don't really care about driving performance or off-road capability. Consumers wanted a premium, comfortable vehicle with a taller seating position that looks kind of like an SUV. It sounds like I'm disparaging, but I'm not. The RX 300 was unusual when it was released. It offered the convenience of an SUV, but it drove like a car in an appealing and affordable package. The design was ahead of its time, but it was so successful that it changed the marketplace, and as a result, we now view it as a pretty boring, typical crossover. It was a disruptor, and now it's the standard. What I love about the Harrier Zagato is that this is an RX 300 that still has that ability to shock, just like it did in 1998. I feel that something like this just wouldn't happen these days. This car has no added functionality and probably didn't make any money. It's a boutique version of a mainstream car that exists only to be a piece of art. The auto industry of today doesn't have a lot of room for art, and that's sad. So let's end this with a quote from an advertisement from 1998 that I have a translation for. The Harrier Zagato, the crystallization of a dream, was born from the passion and pride of car making that transcends oceans and words. I think that's perfect and beautiful. No notes. Thanks for watching.